Good morning and welcome to the CADclass podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Jake.
And it's been a while. It's been
It's
a
been
while.
a little while.
Yeah. We have survived the travels to the treacherous English
Hellscape.
countryside and
Yeah.
hellscape. I don't know what's wrong with these people. But no, it was fantastic. We, just before traveling, we got super busy and then we thought we'd be able to do a pod before and then we didn't. And then we traveled and we were half
Oh
human
my gosh.
beings. And blah, 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 blah. But
This is a very no. We haven't even described why we were gone. So welcome back, everyone.
welcome back.
This is our first time. This is our first podcast this year. But we've
Sure
also been
is.
gone for about 2 months. Before then, we had done a podcast effectively every single week for over a year, which was fantastic. Helped grow the whole community, which has been absolutely amazing. But now we're back into the swing of things, and we just want to continue on. As you can probably tell, I am incredibly sick. I picked up so many diseases on the plane. Every single person around me on like an effectively 14-hour flight was just coughing and sneezing. And I was just sitting there going, I am going to be so out of my mind sick. So if I'm coughing and sneezing and snarkling, I completely apologize to everyone.
And I got it out of my system early because I got sick just before I left. Conveniently, that was just lovely. And then Jake had the privilege of walking around just a snot-producing machine. It was just
just my entire head is
like,
one big sinus.
Just everything was just rolling out. So so I got mine out of the way early. I think that's the only reason I didn't get sick on the plane back. But that was a great trip. That was a great trip. I got to meet your grandma, right? Some of the highlights of the trip. Your Nana, as you say, just the sweetest, as you would imagine, the sweetest woman ever. That was great. We started out the trip going to BET, which is an international ed tech conference. And Jake, what'd you think? What'd you think of that?
Oof, what a waste of time.
Yeah, wasn't quite for us.
We effectively went. We were recommended to go to this massive conference in London, and they said, "Hey, if you are a STEM education person, you have to go to this conference." There's like 25,000 people. Everyone from Europe goes to this conference. It's gigantic. You have to go. There's like a 3-day conference. It was like, all right, let's do it. Let's meet a ton of people. And after day one, we were just exhausted. We were like, yeah, there's nothing here for us. There was one 3D printing booth, and we already knew them. So there was but there was 12 booths about interactive smart whiteboards.
Yeah.
So we chatted with them and we were like, what is the difference? And they were like, nothing. So it was just like, well, what a waste of time.
Customer service was the answer they gave us. It was too. So I think the synopsis is it was actually too big. So it was like Google and Apple and Canva and basically the biggest of the big tech companies that were there. And it's not really who we're trying to work with. So Jake and I, Jake, we've launched a licensing program and we're working with schools and nonprofits and we're scaling a lot of what we're doing with them. So we figured we'd go and chat with folks and see if there's some value we could add. And that wasn't the case. So we went for 1 day. And then I was pretty sick and I was already incentivized not to go back. And we just didn't go back. We just didn't go back.
We just said, screw this. Let's just be tourists.
Let's just be tourists for a couple
days.
Yeah. Anyway, and that's what we did. It was a good decision. And then we built a film studio.
We'll get to that first. I want to show off what we're going to be doing this week. So in this podcast, it's going to be back to normal. Just a little preview. We're going to be going over a bunch of different topics. We're going to be discussing the Bamboo Labs scandal. Not really scandal, just update. And all of the hullabaloo, which is a word I don't get to use very often, that comes with that. We're going to be talking a little bit more about AI functionality within CAD and why all of your CAD jobs are completely safe. A little bit more about Prusa. Some very, very cool stuff about the origins of computing, which is pretty rad. A couple tips and tricks and 3D printed cocaine. Ooh. But want to start off just by saying one of the things that we did do on our trip to the UK was meet up with one of our other writers. He's the chap that helped us write our Tinkercad book and our Fusion Fundamentals book. He is our chief director of education, Ed Charlwood. We finally got to meet him after literally just like Zooming and video chatting with him for 2 years. And then we met him in real life and it was fantastic.
It was fantastic. The best part about it is that we had to we did this little thing where we tried to guess how tall he was, and you guys
Yeah,
all
yeah.
seen Mr. Charwood in the chat. So I thought he was like, I don't know, 5'9",
Yeah.
maybe 5'10", and he kind of chuckled, and then we show up in person, and he's a tall guy. He's 6'3".
I think he's 6'3".
Yeah.
What a giant.
We're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those funny things of the internet where you talk to people and you just actually don't know. You're like, you could be,
it's hilarious.
You could be, who are the really short actors? Like, is Brad Pitt really short? I don't know.
I think so. Prince was ridiculous. I think Prince was about 5'2". It's crazy. But we also got to hang out with the head of Tinkercad, this chap who's helping us actually translate one of our books into Spanish. Thank you very much, Guillermo.
He's already translated the whole thing into Spanish. So now, ball's in our court. So it's time for us to get that Spanish translation out.
I know. So that's gonna be a ton of fun to do. But he gave us a little bit of preview of more Tinkercad stuff that's coming out of the line. I know this is mainly
I was gonna say I don't think we can say it.
Oh, I'm not saying a word. It's Tinkercad of what he told us. All of the stuff that they're going to be rolling out very soon is stuff that me, as a Fusion person who doesn't really use Tinkercad, I was hearing it and I was getting really jealous. I was like, that's never going to be in Fusion, and I'm really bummed about it because it sounds so much fun and it sounds amazing. So yeah, if you've never played around with Tinkercad, or you graduated from Tinkercad up to Fusion, I cannot recommend going back in a couple months and kind of playing around, because there's some really substantially cool stuff there.
Sure is.
Do you want to get started on a silly one?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw this headline, not on a 3D printing forum or anything like that, just in the world on news. And the title was just 3D printed cocaine. And I went, that's hilarious. I absolutely need to look into that, because that's such a ridiculous headline. I need to learn what it is. Effectively, what it isn't actually 3D printed cocaine. But it was a sheriff's office, DEA, so Drug Enforcement Administration, effectively a bust on a large amount of cocaine. And one of the individuals, this happened in January, one of the, I believe he was an officer or a sheriff or something of that, decided to do a little switcheroo. So he measured one of these bricks of cocaine, 3D printed a box that was exactly the same size, sprinkled a little bit of cocaine around it, repackaged it, and did a whole Indiana Jones switcheroo, and then pocketed some of it with an entire brick of cocaine.
Oh my god!
Like, yeah. Apparently, $20,000 worth. So,
oops.
And he got caught immediately. So, yeah. What a great little stuff. I feel like that should definitely be on like World's Dumbest Criminals, but that's amazing. That's so unbelievably ridiculous. But the idea that they're like 3D printing cocaine and they're all just like, you can't do that. It's a powder. No. Not, that's what a ridiculous thing to do. Just all of the engineering minds were just like, no, I don't think that would work, actually.
Yeah,
it's just hilarious.
Nice try.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh my god. But yeah, that was so ridiculous. But yeah, onto some more serious stuff. So while we were in the UK, we were just being tourists, just hanging around. Bizarrely enough, I just had fun facts coming out of every single pocket throughout every
We're walking around, and it's just like I was getting blasted with fun fact after fun fact. I'm like, I don't know what the last fun fact was.
I feel a little awful.
You shouldn't feel awful.
But if you guys ever do make it to London, one of the things that I cannot recommend enough, because it's a little bit of it doesn't sound cool, and it's maximum cool, is going to the British Library, which is literally next door to St. Pancras Station, which is the train station where they shot all the Harry Potter stuff. Because they've got an entire permanent museum there on like famous paper of like manuscripts and books and stuff. They didn't have everything there, but they have things like the Magna Carta that was written in 12, which is like the origin of modern democracy and all that stuff. And they have it in a sealed glass. And they've got, they didn't have it out, but they've got a bunch of Leonardo da Vinci's original drawings. They have some of the original lyrics and scribbles by all the Beatles there. They've got like 500-year-old, amazingly intricate religious artifacts, and oh my god, it just goes on and on. Every single type of beautiful bit of paper that's ever existed that has something important on it. It is just amazing. Yeah, David Dickens. It is a very uninteresting building on the outside, and then as soon as you go in, it's actually fairly beautiful. But one of the things in there that I didn't know about, and it just kind of blew my mind. We were going through all the levels, just kind of wandering around, just because it's kind of a cool place. And we go into the second level, and there's like a computer lab, and it's called the Alan Turing Computer Lab. They're like, oh, that's pretty cool. If you don't know, Alan Turing is one of the fathers of computing. He's also sometimes known as the godfather of AI as well, which I learned yesterday. So he is one of the characters in World War II who helped, one of the mathematicians who helped break the Enigma machine and effectively helped the Allies win World War II just by being able to decode a bunch of World War II German letters. And it basically gave us a huge amount of information, and then it led to the winning of the war. So just amazing bit of history. And we're just kind of walking around like, oh, this is kind of cool. And as soon as you go into the small room where there's the elevators, off to the side there's a glass box, and there is the Enigma machine. I was just kind of, I was like, what? It was literally placed there, like as if it's not tremendously important that it deserves to be
in a
out
corner
in the main
behind
lobby.
some doors.
Yeah, it was like, there's the elevator door, and there's the Enigma machine. It was in glass, but I was just like, that's insane. And so we were just looking at it. I was taking a ton of photos. I believe that is the one they were able to smuggle out of Germany, but it was like all the woodwork was there. It was all obviously all in German. There was like all old-fashioned connectors. It was like 4 volts here that you plug into the top. You could see all the dials for all the different combinations. Oh my gosh, it was just amazing. If you guys don't know the story, the Imitation Game came out a few years ago with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Your audio is getting funk. Say something. I can't hear you. Unplug it and plug it back in.
Sorry, guys.
Plug it back. Yeah, I don't know what's happening there. Okay, I can't hear you. I have to select the correct microphone. Technical difficult. Oh, there it is. There it is. Back to it.
You got me now?
Yeah, that's super weird that it's doing that.
Super funky. My apologies, everyone.
Let me know in the chat if you heard that or if that was just me. Don't think it was just me. I think that was probably some funk.
My apologies, everyone. But yeah, if you haven't seen The Imitation Game, I cannot recommend it enough. If you ever go to London, please put it on your docket to just hang out in the British Library, because it is so flipping cool. I was just kind of thinking about it, like, dude, if that is, for lack of a better word, one of the origins of computing, like, why are we going to be reacting the exact same way to like the origins of 3D printing or the origins of additive manufacturing in the future? Like, I really want to go and see the first 3D printer. I believe it's in oh goodness. Oh my gosh, I'm totally forgetting it. The big museum in Washington, DC begins with ST. Oh my gosh, I'm totally forgetting it. It will come back to me randomly in the middle of the day. But
yeah, it'll come back to me too.
Oh my god, can't believe it.
Yeah.
Can't believe I forgot the name of it. But it is one of the largest museums in America. It's in Washington, DC. Cannot believe I'm forgetting it. But they do have the original 3D printer. And I think we should definitely make a pilgrimage to go and see it.
You totally should.
Smithsonian, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's funny.
Yeah, so they have the original one, and I cannot wait to see it. That's gonna be so rad.
Jake, before we talk too much more, should we show off some of our community stuff?
Yes, I think we should.
What have you all made? You've made so much stuff. You know, one of the things that I realized as you're pulling that up is that the interactivity on the Discord is greatly improved by us having these podcasts. because the moment that
Yeah.
we kind of went a little bit dark, and apologies everybody for not telling you that we're going to go dark. I think next time I'll handle it a little differently. I'll let you know we're going to be gone and when you might expect to hear us again. But one of the consequences was that the Discord for a little while was a little bit quiet. And so I've realized just this back and forth of showing off what you make, of kind of collectively inspiring each other is one of the big benefits that we get from the pod. So it's good to be back with you. All right. Showing off some stuff that other people like you all made.
So do we want to go into the I made a thing section?
Of course.
All right. What the Dickens making a model of his house. That is so rad.
Oh, wow.
Oh, an actual disassembly. Oh, that's awesome. I have wanted to do like, this is totally like nerding out, but I've wanted to do like architectural CAD models of like houses or hotels in like some of my favorite movies, and like actually try to figure out all the layout. Like one of my favorite movies of all time is The Shining by Stanley Kubrick, and like the hotel is very famously nonsensical. Like certain walkways don't lead into the correct places, and staircases go off into areas that shouldn't exist. But I've kind of wanted to lay it out for a long time. But that is super, super awesome. Dropping some more prototypes up at the tobacconist's shop.
Those are the cigar holders that ZDP's been jamming on. Pretty cool product.
That's pretty
cool product.
Those prints look really clean as well.
They look super clean. Yes.
It's really like the silk obviously looks great, but he's got like a speckled surface on that. That looks. If you showed me this and I didn't see the seam right there, I wouldn't have been able to tell that's 3D printed. That's beautiful. Wow. Okay. Fantastic. We're going to be going through these rather quickly.
Yeah.
Ultravarian, a little outlet cover. Love that. I'm sure that's 3D printable. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Oh, some of these. Okay. Those look rad.
Those look super rad.
As someone who is not a cigar smoker or smoker at all, I have no idea the use of this, but it looks fantastic, man. The product looks wonderful. Maximilian Rex. Koa asked me to make a replacement for the blocks that supports their bed frame, with the frames getting chewed up. Yeah, dude, making small little hardware and little adapters. I don't know why, but these are sometimes ungodly difficult to find. And just having like a little 3D printer making these parts is one of those best reasons. That Josh and I always say, like, when it becomes truly microwavable, where you can just kind of go, oh, this is the sofa that I bought, I'm missing this part, click, and it just starts printing. And then for this print, it would take 2 minutes to make these parts. Yeah. And then you just kind of take it off and it works. I cannot wait for that day where it's so easy.
Some
the wine
towers.
gift case that I've made. Oh my God. Who is this? Oh, this is Amy. I don't think we've seen Amy for a while.
I haven't seen her for a little while. She's been a little bit active in the Discord. Sounds like she's been picking up some business and starting a. So Amy was one of our original beta testing cohort members who we found on Reddit, and she's still sticking around. This has been years ago, so love seeing it. Awesome. Love seeing it.
Damn, an entire hydroponics tower. I still really, really badly want to make one of these, but like obviously gigantic.
Yeah.
But the only problem with me is that you kind of have to have this constant flowing of water through the whole thing. And I just imagine like, if I have it in my room or my office or anywhere, all I'm just going to hear is just trickle, 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 trickle for forever. And I'm just constantly going to need to go to the bathroom every 5 minutes. So I love this, but I need to work around. Who is this? Oh, Chris L. Oh, these are looking really cool. Are these little do indoor gardening, designing some interesting pots using T-splines. Cool. Okay, that actually looks really cool. I do really love trying to make repeating geometry on vases, especially within Fusion, because it's not the easiest thing in the world. But this turned out really, really well, dude. Fantastic. Printed by John. I saw this the other day and I was just grinning from ear to ear.
I just love this.
Got a custom order from a church to replicate a grain bin.
Goodness.
Or a grain silo. That is so awesome.
I
mean, the print looks fantastic. The actual modeling of it, all the detail is beautiful. I mean, dude, come on. That looks awesome. And there we go. Oh, that is so good. That is
That's so
so
cool.
good, dude.
That
Dude,
is
hats
so
off to
cool.
you. That is amazing. Also, I've only just learned recently, um, like of oh, what is it? Drowning in grain silos,
Oh, yeah. It's for
and like
real.
how terrifying. And like a
Mhm,
lot of
mhm.
people, especially in the rural area that come across these all the time, they have like a genuine phobia of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. I had no idea how terrifying it was. I mean, like obviously it all makes sense, but like, oh, that sounds terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. But this looks absolutely fantastic, man. And then another printed by John making a local restaurant. So he's actually getting gigs from this. So I haven't spoken to printed by John in a little while. But to hold pepper and salt shakers, dude, this is like, I'm sure this didn't take you too long to
I love it.
model,
I love
but
it.
this looks so neat and tidy. But it
Yeah.
also looks good enough to where most patrons would look at this and they would use it without even thinking, oh, this is a 3D printed thing and it's not proper, quote unquote. But dude, this looks absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I love that. Oh, this is going to take us a little while, Josh.
That's
Um,
okay. That's okay.
ZDP making a little jig, recolored glass frames, and just, yeah, these little clips
Oh.
holding everything together. Dude, that just looks fantastic. I love that. Um, and printed by John making another note holder.
And putting the hand-drawn CADclass logo on there, I was just like,
I dig that.
what an adorable
Dude,
touch. What an
that's rad.
adorable touch. Made me
Dude,
smile.
adding felt or leather or other materials into a print is something that I've seen a lot of people do where they're selling a product and they're trying to hide the 3D printable artifacts of it so it looks a little bit more professional. And I think adding just like a really simple bit of felt in there, I'm sure as soon as you figure out the exact size, a little bit of spray glue, put it in there, and it just kind of snaps into place. It just makes it look so professional.
Mhm.
It just looks fantastic. Yeah, dude, I'm like, God, print's looking so clean. Um, I'm having a little bit of trouble with my bamboo right now. I'm doing a big order for a client of ours, and I'm having like none of my filaments are sticking to my build plate. I've got the rough PEI sheets, and it's totally clean of alcohol, but all my parts are just popping off. Very, very annoyed. And I know there's like um, a new build plate that got really, really popular recently. It was like I can't even remember the company, but it was like a sky blue color, and people are just raving about it. So yeah, if any of you guys have actually tried it out, if you're getting really uh, good success out of it, please let us know in the comments right now and have Josh tell me about it because it's definitely annoying me. I have no idea why. The logical side of me is like, oh, rough textured build plates, more mechanical tooth, so it should be way more grippy. I have never been able to have
So we've got
repeat
lots of
success
suggestions.
on grip.
Lots of
Oh,
suggestions. We've got liquid
oh,
glue
let me
from
come back.
Bamboo, Cryo Grip,
Cryo
um,
Grip. I think that may have been the company.
Cryo Grip, liquid glue, and so wow, yeah, blue, and it's
Yeah,
crazy
I think
good.
this is. Yeah. Okay. All right. Because
It's a
I've seen it on a
it's a
bunch
good
of different
plate.
posts, and I'm like, I already have a build plate, but now this is totally acting up on me. I don't know why. It was
Hmm.
literally overnight. Um.
Hmm.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for your suggestions. This is gonna be a little bit of research for me. All right. I also don't want to have to put a bunch of like glue stick or blue tape. I feel like we're all kind of done with all of that, but yeah, some of my settings, they're absolutely identical. Like I'm printing slow as hell, like 10 millimeters per second, totally clean surface. I've tried both sides. And I don't know what's up. These are parts. I'll actually grab one really quick. Excuse me. I'll hide exactly what it is, but this is the bottom plate. This is a really, really tricky geometry to print, where you effectively have a kind of like a filled in number 9, basically. We've got a really big circle, lots of surface area, and then a little tail. That is one of the hardest initial first layers to print. it is absolutely the most difficult thing. If you really want to push and test your printer, because effectively you've got a huge amount of grippage on the circular entity, which is holding down really well, but then this tail is always wanting to peel off every single time. And what effectively it does is that it builds up all this stress. And so as you're printing, it doesn't just peel up and then another section is holding as if you're just doing like a normal curve. It adds all of this tension to the point where it goes boom and it flies off. And so I'll just be kind of editing yesterday and I just hear popcorn going off in my printer. Not amazing. Yeah, so these shapes are tremendously difficult to print.
So we had some questions. What did you clean the plate
yeah.
with? I think it was isopropyl alcohol. And what material you're using?
99% isopropyl alcohol.
And then it was
91%.
what material are maybe the so what material are you
printing
using?
in PLA, standard PLA. I actually finished a spool. Just normal hatchbox, so good quality normal PLA. And then I printed in another silk PLA, which adds more difficulty. I recognize that. But the normal PLA should print just fine, and it was really, really annoying me. Yeah, super, super duper weird. Yeah, texture build plate. Yeah, the matte PLA binds too much. Yeah, I'm printing with all of the normal settings that I've done for years, and it's still being tricky. So I'm sure it's something that I'm doing wrong, almost guaranteed. I can't. The door is closed, it's keeping all the heat in, which is preventing warping. Very good piece of Van Vliet. I'm also not printing with a brim because I'm having a part that has 100 quantity on the build plate. So brims don't really work.
This person Twan says the ISO won't remove the grease. So just use detergent, and if you still have issues, use liquid glue.
I have used alcohol for years and years and years, and it does work. ISO alcohol does remove grease.
Try
or it does remove the oils on fingerprints.
Just try soap and water.
I will try soap and water.
Soap and water. Be really interesting. So we'll see. To be continued.
All right.
This is is warped into. I mean, it sounds like there's like dipped build plates and hot and cold and stick solutions, and so yes. Yeah. It just reminds me that I'm a little bit. I'm not as connected. I mean, we still do a fair bit of 3D printing, but now we're just so focused on CAD. I realize I don't know that much anymore in 3D printing. Y'all are
it's awful. Yeah.
The community to the rescue.
Thank you very much, everyone. Very, very lovely. Let's get back to showing off all of your guys' amazing stuff.
Oh, there's so much stuff, which is awesome.
Oh my gosh.
There's so much
normally we would
stuff.
go into much more depth on everything for everyone who is new to the pod. But this one is going to be a little bit more quick, a little bit of a speed run. And I'm sure we won't get to everyone. My apologies. Continuing on, with Grandpa needs to make an accurate oh my gosh. Oh, never mind. I thought this was a router. I need to create an accurate depth hole near a wall on a wooden base to use heat set threads. I have a router attachment for a Dremel. I have also tried to make one of these for a hand router where it's essentially a bushing. It's a little insert that goes around a bit, and it almost. Or I had a set of these. They were brand new. I put it in correctly, and it actually wiggled loose. Grabbed this little brass sleeve, grabbed onto a spinning bit that was running at like 10,000 RPM and flew off and almost took my finger off. So yeah, bushings on routers, I just get the heebie-jeebies about. Kind of freaks me out. But with the Dremel, probably a little bit safer. But yeah, I always get the in my shoulders kind of vibes. Oh no, I went way too far.
Oh, there you go. That was the beginning. It was close to the beginning at least.
Oh gosh, excuse me, guys.
There we go.
Ooh, what is this? Not overall exciting, but I need a new sink strainer.
Disagree.
I also need one of these.
It is exciting. I disagree.
The ability to say I need this, then I go on my phone and I click print, and then it's just making this thing and it works is absolutely amazing. It took 6 prints to get everything right. I get it. I totally understand, Chris. I totally disagree. I think this kind of stuff is awesome. My Chinese colleague invited us to a Chinese New Year celebration. That's awesome. Searched for a long time to find a suitable gift, and ended up designing something myself. That is so rad. Oh, it's a Ferrero Rocher. That is so flipping cool. Oh, this is Connie, dude. That's awesome. That is so flipping cool. Josh, I don't know if you knew this. The same people that make Ferrero Rocher also make Nutella.
Did not know that.
Uninteresting fun facts all over the CADclass podcast. I've got all of them coming down the line. Oh, Joe Street is making another BattleBot. Just a little bit of shout out. The Rabid Combat Robot event that's happening in Virginia, I believe.
It's next week.
Is next week. So if you guys are in that part of the world, absolutely check it out. They also do live streams on their YouTube page. It is super duper awesome. Cannot recommend it enough.
So Joe Street says he is up one more is a shuffle full body spinner design. So that shuffle mechanism that he's been working on for a while, and he'll be debuting it at their Combat Robotics event next week. The shuffle mechanism, if you haven't seen it, you could scroll back up. I know Joe Street's done a bunch of posts up there, but that shuffle mechanism is so wacky for how it moves.
It's so cool. Yeah, dude, this is absolutely awesome. I the spinning mechanisms, any combat robots just kind of freak me out a little bit. There's always some like it's gonna turn on and then it's gonna rip my fingers off and then I'll be Jakey no finger. And so I always have a little bit of fear for this. This is something that I saw oh gosh, yeah, like a month ago, and I was like, that's awesome. I started my CAD journey with this class, and I'm now able to design fully 3D printable things. Pretty proud of it.
Yeah,
this
is
rad. Awesome. That is so with an iris mechanism, and it's holding all the D&D dice. That is so flipping cool. Like the design is amazing. I would have trouble making this in Fusion. I'm sure this might be an SVG import, but this looks so unbelievably cool, dude. Like it's amazing. Kick-ass.
It's amazing.
God, that is so cool. ZDP. This is now like a previous version of a cigar holder. And he's probably making all of this in Tinkercad as well. Oh my god. Dude, that's crazy. That's so crazy. My nephew asked me if he could design.
There we go. Your audio's back out. That's so weird. So weird. I think maybe after this pod, Jake, you can just rewire everything. I think it's just a loose wire, a loose connection in there somewhere. I can't hear you at all. Yeah. Joe Stru's like Mike again. Yeah, that's like instantly hard to listen to. So there we go. Say it.
You got me now?
Yeah, this is a weird issue.
I am so sorry, everyone.
May or may not be because I, like a fool,
I was just gonna say
I'm this microphone. Jake hands me a shirt and was like,
no. We go to Ed very, very kindly let us stay over at his house. We were setting up a film studio in his office, and then we were able to film. Just as a nicety, we brought some gifts from California over to his kids as a gift. I tell Josh, hey, dude, in this hoodie that we are giving his daughter, the microphone is in there. I've got about 5 things in my hands, so be careful. The microphone is in there. What does Josh do? It then it smashes on the ground.
Like comical. I don't know what. I wasn't paying any attention to what was happening. All I saw was a shirt. I grabbed the shirt and just bang, microphone falls right out. Like couldn't have been more than 1 second after you told me that there was a microphone inside this shirt that you just handed me. Yeah, that happened.
We'll figure it out.
Not my finest moment.
That's fine. Everything's all right. Might have to get a new mic, but that's fine. So
I think it's wiring. I think just undo and redo the wire. Just unplug it, clean the things out a little bit. I think it'll be fine. It seems like it's just there's just a slightly funny connection in there somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah, a couple more things to show off here, and then we'll talk a little bit.
Let's head on back. All right. My nephew asked me if I could design and print 2 adapters for the motor of a roller blind based on a template. What? Roller blinds? Oh, I think I know exactly what this is. Oh, that is super cool. Okay. So in a lot of countries in Europe, I think especially Spain and Germany, their blinds that they have are not like fabric that you pull in, like curtains or anything. They're actually like shutter mechanisms They get rolled up into the very top in this massive coil, and then as it comes down, it is literally blackout. Like no light is coming in. If you see any videos of them, there's like it's a shutter mechanism, so you'll just see all these little thin bits of light, and then as it's coming down, it's just it looks so unbelievably cool. But the actual housing mechanisms for it are just really small little motors, and so I believe that is what Connie was making. Yeah, if you're into that kind of weird mechanical design, yeah, German blinds are super cool for no random reason. Making a little coin holder. I love all this stuff. What? Oh, what coins are those? I can barely make those out. Hmm. Are those British coins? They might. Oh, looks like it. I can barely tell. Oh, what is this? Oh, a little napkin holder. That's gorgeous. A little clover. Dig it. Oh, Joshi working on his little spinning mechanism. God, those things are freaky. Some of the oh, this is a totally new shuffle mechanism. Ooh, okay, this is cool. Yeah, Joshi, I can't wait to see these. This looks awesome. Love that. Going on and on. Josh, oh no, Pretty by John got a breadboard for Christmas. Is that how long we haven't been on here since past Christmas?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Grandpa makes making a new part to a tripod. Easy
That's
peasy.
amazing.
Super cool. One thing that I have learnt, just us doing photography and stuff, and people who know much more than I do about camera and photography and stuff like that. The difference between like a $30 tripod and a $300 tripod, they literally will squirt this like super viscous goo inside all of the joints, and they have like planetary joints. So it literally just has this kind of built up smoother friction. So instead of just going when you try and move the camera, it's way more fluid and more controlled. And apparently that's the biggest thing. That's like the main difference. So yeah. So remaking a little tripod, I'm sure is going to be absolutely perfect. All right, continuing onwards. Oh, little passport holders. That's awesome. Oh, we have some people from Ukraine.
Oh, there we go.
That's pretty sweet.
You got some crusty audio again. It's completely crusty.
I am so sorry, guys. I promise it'll be much better next time.
There we go. That sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is literally just there's something with that connection. I think you need to clean that connection off when we're done. I think that's what it is. It's either that connection or the one end of the computer. That's what it is.
Yeah.
We expected some hiccups.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Yeah. It's all good. I think is there anything else behind that one? Oh yeah, there's
I'm sure there is, but I kind of don't want to touch my computer.
Yeah.
It gets triggered again.
Excuse me.
I want to talk about the bamboo scandal or bamboo that's going on because I basically just came on in the middle of it and just saw a bunch of yelling and a bunch of screaming. I was just like, what is going on? And
I'm curious too, as you're talking. So before we give our opinions, if you guys, I would love to know just in the comments, like where do people stand? What do you think? You're kind of explaining this stuff, because I think what I've been reading through and watching a couple of the videos and just trying to get a sense of like, what do people feel about this and why? And so I think I might have a hot take or two, but I'd love to just hear what you all in chat think as well. But go ahead, Jake. Take it away.
Okay, so here. Effectively, Bamboo Labs pushed out a software update to some of their larger scale printers. I don't think it applied to their smaller printers. That effectively added more and more proprietary nature to all of their products. Basically, what everyone was screaming about was that they've put in a bunch of built-in roadblocks that don't allow as many third-party, so that is external components, to actually work on their printers.
Like slicers, for example.
Some of them are totally ridiculous, and people should absolutely be up in arms and saying, this is ridiculous. You know, I bought this product and now technically I don't own it. You know, I should be able to do what I want with my stuff, and you're blocking that. And other stuff seems to be, at least from my perspective, not that big of a deal. But if people want to, you know, go crazy about it, that's fine. And it also starts to bring in some topics about Prusa now being way more of the go towards new printer. So yeah, basically, they came out with a software update. A lot of people updated it, and it blocked a series of third-party additions. So some of it was software, and some of it was hardware. So there are other different AMS systems. That's the thing at the very top. Basically, it's a mechanism that allows you to put a whole bay of different filaments, and it allows you to feed in different filaments into your printer if it only has one nozzle, so you can make multicolor prints. Or what I found is much more useful for me, it is a storage that I can automatically swap in and out different filaments without actually having to heat up, pull out, put in, purge, and go through this whole process. It kind of does all the work for you. They have Bambu has two separate, a little bit less expensive and more expensive AMS systems, but they have blocked third-party AMS systems. So in the meantime, that Bambu's kind of grown up. Creality has made a clone, obviously, and they have their own AMS system. I believe Elegoo now has a pretty similar machine to them and also their own AMS system. I didn't really see any other like big AMS systems coming out of like the third party sector that apparently would be compatible with this. But Bambu has said, no, you now cannot use these. I'm not too kind of thrown up about it just because it integrates with their printer so well, and it's having a third party thing when it's it's not like the AMS system is like mind-blowingly expensive, and so having a third party AMS system is like, oh, it's really simple. It's like pennies on the dollar, and it does everything that Bambu Labs does. As far as I can tell, they're all pretty much similar price, and they all do about the same thing. So them having kind of, no, you can only use ours, it's proprietary. It's like, okay, fine, it's not the biggest deal to me. The one thing that I did see that's ridiculous. So Bambu Labs, they make their own filament, and they have a little RFID chip. What is it? RFID. Thank you. Chip that goes onto their filament, and it actually allows you to, as soon as you put it in the AMS system, it reads that chip and it already imports all of the information, all of the print or the filament settings, the color, all of that stuff. There's apparently other third-party filaments that have that, and they cannot now be used, and you have to go in and automatically enter it. I feel like that's kind of ridiculous, like it's filament. It's not like an actual part of the printer. It's like it's a consumable, like why would that be a problem? It's as ridiculous as, oh, I have a paper printer at home, and the only way to use certain features is I have to buy that printer's paper, which is like, that's ridiculous. Really quick, just saw Joshu say, a little bit of commentary. I'm definitely happy that more AMS systems are coming out. Helps drive down the cost overall, making things more competitive. Absolutely, you couldn't be more correct. The whole nature of different technologies, especially in any technology sector, whether it's 3D printers, computers, electric cars, it doesn't really matter. Having more companies in it basically pushes the technology even faster. We don't get so many monopolies, all that good stuff. So yes, it is better, but I want to see that technology being pushed in the printer. The AMS system is just kind of like cherries on top. I kind of don't care too much, but the consumable seems very silly.
I think, I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that this was an open source movement built on the backs of people who spent a lot of time and effort to DIY and rig things up. And you've got a robust community of makers and tinkerers who say, hey, look, like we built this. This is our ecosystem, right? And now you have a company that's come along and they've started to kind of close off some of these, and at least in some ways, it makes me think of what happened with like Stratasys, for example, right? Where they have this closed off ecosystem with really expensive filament. It's all proprietary, and then you charge for software. And it's like all kinds of little. And so I'm guessing the community is they're like, hey, we don't want to see this printer movement shift away from the DIY, the sorts of community members who actually built this. I think that's one of the big things happening right here. Now, I have another hot take, though. I have another hot take. Part of what we're seeing, I think, is also has to do with this community that still feels ownership over the 3D printing world, starting to come into contact with people who have never tinkered with a machine because they bought something out of the box that just works. So what we're starting to see is a large and growing, and probably pretty soon much larger than the kind of the originals in the industry, group of people coming along saying, I don't really care. I just want a machine that works. I don't want to have to think about it. And they're not all that fired up, at least from what I can tell. The original community members are pretty fired up about it, and the new people coming along, not quite as fired up about it. So I'm wondering how much of this is just that larger clash of like what happens as this becomes more and more mainstream and some of these technologies get more and more locked down. Now, what I hope also happens is that the other companies like Prusa and Cheedy and Creality see this as an opportunity. And they say, okay, if the community speaks loudly enough, and they're willing to put their money where their mouth is, and we can make a machine that's actually competitive with Bamboo, then it should be an opportunity for those folks to innovate and to say, absolutely. There's no reason that Bamboo needs to continue to have this market share dominance that I believe it's having right now. So that's my take on what's happening. I would hate and do hate to see things get locked down in this world. But at the same time, I can see from the perspective of a company trying to actually make this a microwave of a machine, where they say, in order to achieve true microwave ability, meaning it's just so easy that you press a button, we're going to need to lock down various parts of the system so that it can't be tampered with, for better or worse. So it will lead to more competition. If this was happening industry-wide,
I would say this is now like absolutely severe, not call to arms, but like everyone absolutely deserves to be outraged. But this is effectively one company who has said, pretty loudly, especially with their slicer software, we're not open source. We're a private company. And every other 3D printing company is still with the community and the vibes of open source, free information, free upgrades, third party, all that kind of stuff. In addition, there are some third party technology that kind of interfaces with these printers, and they have now been cut off. So Bamboo, there's another company called Panda Technologies. Panda's eating bamboo, kind of the gag. But effectively, there is a few pieces of tech where you can take off the LCD screen and the interface, and then put on a touch screen part that just magnets into place, and you've got much more functionality with it. That was quite popular. But really, for me, coming into the Bamboo world quite late, and me loving the hackability of like Ender 3s or Prusias, where it's like, I'm going to be printing all of my own accessories, and I'm going to be upgrading this and changing the color of that. And I love that changeability of it. I was then really excited to come into the Bamboo world and be like, hey, what upgrades, what accessories, what this, what that can I add onto it? And the list is pretty short. There's not that many things that you can add onto or would want to. And this addition on there, it never really sparks me as anything interesting. So I'm personally not affected to it, but all the people that have it, and it's basically bricked, that sucks. That really sucks.
Yeah, no, it's annoying. And I think Joe Stream makes a good point. He says, I like that they're becoming more mainstream, but I definitely don't want things to become closed source. And I agree.
I totally agree.
I don't want them to become closed source either. I think there's this, again, this was built on the community of open source hackers and tinkerers. And I'd hate to see the loss of that. So I agree with you. I think, but again, I kind of want to reiterate a point here. We all vote in when it comes to products with our dollars. What you buy is what will exist. And so if we, hopefully the community raises enough of an alarm and actually chooses those machines that continue to stay open source and push those movements. So I think it's one of those, let's all vote where we want things to go. And we have to make that decision every time we buy a machine and see what happens from there. So yeah, I don't know. I also haven't researched it as in depth. I saw a couple, it might have been Maker's Muse. Was it Maker's Muse that did a pretty in depth?
I think he did another video on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I saw some pretty in depth analysis on YouTube. So if you are curious about this, there are people who know way more about this than we do. So this is just a kind of a surface level hot take. And just curious to see what the community thinks.
And then finally, as far as the third-party thing, with the update, I don't know if this is about every single printer or it might just be the X1 Carbon. They're now not allowing third-party slicer software to interact with their printers. And this is one of those things that I'm really torn on it, because on one hand, that sucks, that's ridiculous, and their excuse practically was security.
That's always the excuse. And it might be
Which is
true to some
totally
extent,
absurd.
but
Yeah,
also,
it might be, but we've heard that before, and
yeah.
that's ridiculous.
Mm.
But the other side of me, the other, the angel on my shoulder, is going that the Bamboo Studio, the slicer software, was based on Prusa Slicer, which is a phenomenal slicer software. It is wonderful. It's simple, it's robust, and the experience that we have, that you all may not have, is that if this is now the proprietary slicer that's linked with this printer, it is a wonderful slicer to only have to use. And I say this because Josh and I have both used industrial 3D printers where we've used large Stratasys, $100,000 3D printers. And instead of a filament that you can buy, you have to buy their cartridge of filament, where it's $200 instead of like 25 bucks, where you have to use their maintenance equipment. It is blown out of proportion for cost. You don't have to do that with this. Also, you have to use their slicer software. The Stratasys slicer software is garbage beyond belief. You wouldn't believe how awful it is. You literally, the slicing software, you cannot adjust the layer thickness. You can't enter in, I would like it to be 0.02 because I want this to be a medium quality. It literally says coarse, extra fine. That's it. It's like,
It was pretty brutal.
It's like the worst of both worlds, where not only is it proprietary, but it's also terrible. And so in this world where it is proprietary and you can only use their software, the fact that it is a very good slicer is its saving grace. I recognize it sucks if you really love Orca Slicer, or Shaper 3D is now coming back. If you really love those, that's awesome. But it's not the end of the world. I'm not saying it doesn't suck, but it's not the end of the world, and it could be a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah, I think where we get here. So people worry that 3D printing could become the 2D printer ink issue, essentially. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about with that Stratasys shutdown system. I think my intuition tells me that Bamboo has made some pretty smart decisions about tech development. I don't think they would be so stupid as to ruin their own market with anything like a completely locked down, have to do these sorts of things. But when I don't really know what kind of profit margin they have on these machines, if they even have a profit margin on these machines. So the incentive to make money could outweigh the incentive to keep this open and free. And I guess we'll have to see how it plays out. So it is worth paying attention to. I don't know how it's going to play out. I have some fears, like you mentioned, Jake. I have some similar fears. And I also see the flip side of some of these things where they're trying to develop their own proprietary ecosystem. So I don't know. We will see. I know it's fired people up. And I know that most people that make videos on this stuff, you can go through the comments and people are fired up. So
yeah, I've seen a lot of people.
They've had to notice
selling their printers. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, we did that little experiment, right? I was like, oh, okay, let's see if there's a bunch of printers for sale. And there are.
Yeah. So we looked in like Craigslist all throughout our neighborhoods. Nobody's selling.
Nobody's selling any of their Bamboo printers.
I saw a few posts on Reddit and I'm like, who knows? Who knows how many people are selling it? But don't know. I don't think it's as widespread.
Don't know.
So yeah, all in all, it sucks, but the saving grace is that this is effectively a problem that is localized to one company within the entire 3D printing world. It doesn't really affect any of the other places. And guess what? There are some fantastic 3D printer companies out there. To be honest, all of them are doing clones of this printer. They're all fantastic. They maybe don't have all of the additions onto it, but it's hard to go wrong leaving Bamboo and bumping into another fantastic printer. They're great. Yep. The flip side of it, of what I've heard, is now Prusa's Core XY printer is doing fantastically, because people are like, we're back, baby. We're back in the Prusa world. So yeah, hats off to them. Of what I've seen, the prints coming off of that Core XY are just pristine. They're just beautiful. So
I would like
amazing.
to say, I would like to get my hands on one of those Core XY machines just to compare.
I know.
I do think, and this is kind of the neat side of it, right? Is there's like all right, let's go, Prusa.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah,
you've got your window, you've got your opportunity. Let's get in there and do it. So
yeah,
love to see it.
Okay. All right, guys, we got 5 minutes left. So to finish off our first podcast of the year, I just wanted to show off a little trick that I learned very, very recently. And it was not a revelation, but I was like, oh my God, I see this question come up all the time, and I finally have the answer. So you're working on a design, a very big, complicated design, very big. And you are adding in all of the dimensions everywhere, and you go, oh, awesome. I defined everything. That took me ages. Sweet. You go into the browser, you expand sketches, and next to your sketch is a little pencil icon. There is some part of your sketch that is undefined, and you need to find it because that means it can move without you asking it to. Where is it? You go into your sketch, you click and drag everything, and you can't find it anywhere. You can now. I don't know if this has always been a feature, but I've only just learned about it very recently. And it takes in text command prompts, which is something that I really don't have very much experience with at all. But I found this, and it's very, very simple. Effectively, you pull up your text command prompt window within Fusion.
Do you have Fusion open right now?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I have an example.
I was like,
and you effectively put in code, and it will then highlight that bit of sketch geometry that is undefined, or as Fusion calls it, underdefined, which is so over the top. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open up a new sketch really quick. Let's go ahead and close you.
I'm going to go ahead and make this full screen. There we go. Even bigger.
Yep. Okay. So I'm just going to be making a very, very simple sketch. Let's just say this is 50. That's 25. Groovy will make a horizontal and then something at an angle. Okay. So this is a very, very basic example where effectively this line is undefined. Its length is undefined. Its location is undefined. But it's basically just this line and its two endpoints. This is pretty obvious to see that it's blue, but in some sketches, that's even more difficult to do. So I've got my text commands up. The way that you open up this text command is by, if you're on a Mac, going Command Option C. If you're on a Windows machine, it's Control Alt C.
And is there a place to find it inside the software as well?
Not that I know of.
Can you press? Can you humor me for a second? Can you escape out of that?
I actually don't know how to.
Oh, how do you get rid?
Oh, there we go.
Oh, and then it just blows it away. Can you press S and see if you can search for it?
I think I have to be in the 3D workspace for that. Nope.
Can't search for it.
Can't search for it. I know. Funky, right?
Okay.
I think it does. So it just pulls it up here. So I need to figure out how to delete it. But basically, what you need to do is type in this prompt, sketch.show under constraint, where the first letter of all the words are capitalized. Basically, when you type this in there and hit enter, because I'm not in the sketch. Duh. There we go. All right, let's try that again. Type it in there, press enter.
Ooh.
It will highlight that geometry and the node up here. This endpoint is fully defined. It's 25 mil from the origin, but this entire line and that endpoint is undefined. And it will even say under constraint points 1, under constraint curves, which applies to the line as well, 1. There you go.
That is awesome.
Do all the work for you. Yeah. I found that out very, very recently, and I was kind of mind blown by it. So yeah, very, very handy tool. So anytime that we see that in the comments, if you guys see it in the Discord where people go, my sketch is still undefined, what's wrong? You can just run this text command very, very simply. It's a single word. I'm gonna be doing some more research into it. I'm sure there's tons of little command lines that we can put into the text box, and it will actually give us a wealth of information. But yeah, there you go.
That's awesome.
Totally out of the blue fan. I'm like, that's genius. I never ever knew that. Yeah, it totally should be a feature. Yeah, Joe Street, I totally agree. Should be a feature. But there you go. Happy to show it off to you guys. All right, that is going to be it. That's going to be it for us, guys.
That's the pod. This has been the CADclass podcast. Once again, I'm Josh.
I'm Jake.
And we'll see you next week. Cheers, everybody.
See you guys.